Folks, welcome back to So Bad It's Good. This is really exciting, actually. I follow these ladies on TikTok, and they have an excellent podcast themselves, and I'm so happy that they join us here today. Now, their podcast kind of focuses on what we can learn about modern dating and love and relationships through popular television. So we're talking like the Love is Blind. They dip into Summer House. They're going to do Love Island USA. And I just finished listening to their episode recapping an iconic season of Sex and the City, season 3, which I was talking about on Monday's episode, that I had just watched episode 1 and 2 of that season, and they were sitting there recapping it, and I was like, heck yes. So nice. Their names are Justine and Natasha, and their podcast is Two Black Girls, One Rose, every Tuesday and Thursday, and they have a Patreon as well, which I'll put in the show notes. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us. What's up, Ryan?
It's a Monday. That's the vibe that's here. I guess we'll start with Sex and the City, because I know one of you you're keeping up with, and Just Like That, right?
I watched the first episode. Yes, keeping up with is strong, but I watched the first episode.
Well, it really is that thing where, to me, that's so bad it's good. It's a hate watch now, but as you point out on your episode, it's not always been like this. Sex and the City had it's not cringe in any sort of way. It's about young women trying to find their place in the world and actually trying to find love, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a really realistic take of what dating in your 30s was like in the city at that time. And there's nothing realistic about it Just Like That. It's all fantasy and a mess.
It is wild to see. We have Carrie with a politician, or she gets hit on by a politician. Mm-hmm. You have Samantha sleeping with a fireman, which, by the way, with Samantha, she's so good, Kim Cattrall, that you're like, yeah, I totally buy all of this. I can believe all of this.
Definitely. Yeah, I think in the original Sex and the City, like, you could feel yourself in at least one or a combination of some of the women. Everybody has their one. I'm a Charlotte, I'm a Carrie, I'm a this, I'm a that. And that's lost with and Just Like That.
If a women, you cannot see yourself in any of these characters at this point. And by the way, if you can see yourself, I'd be worried for you.
Damn. Yeah. A little disturbed. Yeah.
Well, Justine, who was your Sex and the City character?
Yeah, I always say that I'm a Samantha Moon, Charlotte Rising. That's my combo.
And Natasha, what about you?
I feel like I'm a combination of like Charlotte and Miranda. I think those are my two.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Steve, because I only have one ball.
Oh.
Miranda, come on! I got one ball. It's Steve. Which, in the episode that you talk about, there is this sweet scene with Steve and Miranda where she will not allow him to pick her up after her eye surgery, and he's like, "Come on, Miranda, what are we to each other?" And he goes and gets her and puts her to bed, and she realizes that this is actually something. I mean, flash forward to now, we have Che Diaz, and she's sleeping with nuns.
Yeah, and they're divorced, which is because he had a hearing aid.
that was the reason. A hearing
and
aid.
We love Steve. Steve is beloved. I feel like he's kind of universally beloved. I'm really confused why they decided to just get rid of his character, destroy his character, give him like weird, like the hearing loss. Like why was that necessary? I was like really confused why they did this to this character that we all love. I don't know.
Well, they did so many things that are so out of pocket from like the original series. Like, I mean, listen, Mr. Big, neither here nor there, but they had him die on a Peloton.
Yeah, but he would die on her though, like that. Like when she was out,
do that to her.
He would do that to her.
That's true.
So did you decide to go back and rewatch old episodes to kind of, rediscover your love for Sex and the City, or to almost be like, oh, it was once good at some point?
Yeah. Sex and the City, we always knew we wanted to do something with the show. We're as you said, on our podcast, looking at popular television, specifically through the lens of dating, love, relationship, sex. Sex and the City is that show. Justine and I also lived in New York City for over 10 years, dating. We both found our husbands in New York. Like we did the dating in New York grind, and thought it'd be really amazing now being in our 30s, married, watching that show back, a show that was like so important to us throughout our college years, 20s. And so, yeah, it really didn't have anything to do with And Just Like That. It was only for like our own selfish purposes and for our community. Like we knew that they would love it too.
There's something that about something that you love so passionately at a younger age is that part of like getting older is that you see some of those things destroyed. You know, is that like the good, like you always have those memories, but there's like a bittersweet nature to when you revisit a show or you see them update something. And I guess that's like the danger of going back to the well. Like people want it, but then at what cost?
Yeah. And they're remaking so much now. Like everything's getting remade or spun off and so sometimes a good thing is just a good thing. And I think Sex and the City is one of those that they could have just let it be there. And even the first, like, I'll take the first movie. I love the first movie. Like,
the first movie was great. And the second movie's so bad. Like the second movie is very And Just Like That.
Yes.
Yeah. And so to like beat us when we're down by giving us now a show on top, like we just did not need any of this. Like,
well, I noticed that with pop culture a lot, though, is that it's really about, you know, commodities and intellectual property instead of original ideas. So you have Sex in the City, you know, obviously a kind of an original idea that really popped, you know, or I really loved the movie Sinners. And it was so interesting to have an idea that wasn't based on intellectual property, a sequel. It was an original thing and it did well. So you want people to be like, let's have more original ideas. It's a gamble, but wouldn't we rather see something new than something old?
Yeah. It actually really makes me sad that it's seen as a gamble for original content, like original ideas to be a gamble, because some of the most powerful, most impactful, most like award-winning movies were original ideas. And like to think that that's a risk now, let's just remake How to Train Your Dragon again.
Oh my God.
Why
and it's a shot by shot remake of How to Train Your. They did. I mean, they did it with Lilo and Stitch, or however you say Lilo and Stitch. They just did that, and that's been #1 at the box office for the last 3 or 4 weeks, right?
Yeah. Like
but then sometimes it's terrible, like Snow White. Like that ruined that girl's career. Rachel, whatever her name is,
Rachel Zegler,
like she really got to come back for an A24
And by the way,
film or something.
if you book Snow White, you think, oh, I have a career for the rest of my life.
Made it, yeah.
Yep.
Until you get the script and it's terrible.
So where do you both live now? You said you lived in New York for 10 years, is that right?
Yeah, we're both in Jersey now.
Yeah,
both in Jersey,
move to the suburbs,
and you're both married. You're married in. This is the show I want to see. Married in Jersey.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I mean, ladies that have dated in New York, and now you're married in Jersey. How long have you been doing the podcast?
Ooh, 7 years.
Yeah, 7 years. 7 years. Yeah,
7 years. Yeah, since 20. We put out our first episode December 2017.
And what made you decide to start? Why did you hop into this?
Yeah. We started with The Bachelor, actually. So Justine and I had like a relationship, separate relationships to The Bachelor. I kind of always watched. Justine would kind of dip in. And then Rachel Lindsay was named the first Black Bachelorette. And we were like, let's do it. Let's watch. And it became a ritual for us. Every Monday, I would go to her apartment. She would come to my apartment. We'd bring the bottle of wine. We'd watch. And we just loved watching this Black woman's journey for love. We also discovered the world of Bachelor podcasts at that time. And listening to them, it just felt like they were watching a different show. They were missing the nuances of this Black woman, specifically this Black woman's journey for love on television. And so we decided, we're funny, we're fun. We've had better conversations talking about the show than anyone else out there, we think. Let's buy some cheap microphones off of Amazon and press play. And pretty much since then, I mean, that's kind of the rest is history.
We're doing it every week since then.
And now the lowest point of your career, you're on this show today. So it really come full circle from 7 years ago. The Bachelor franchise, which, it's like I started from the beginning, weirdly enough, and I dipped out a while back, and I'll come in for like the Golden Bachelor or Bachelor in Paradise, which I think we have a new season you talked about coming up pretty soon. Where are you at with Bachelor Nation and the Bachelor franchise? Because we just ended a season, and what do we have coming up? But where are you, more importantly, with the show?
We're still covering. So Bachelor Paradise will be back in July. We'll be right there. We're excited because they brought in a new showrunner, which I think is the right move. The entire franchise needs like a giant overhaul. I mean, the last few finales have been catastrophic. I think people tune in for the catastrophe, for the train wreck, but it gets really tiring, particularly with a show like The Bachelor that takes itself so seriously. To have the ending that we just had with Grant, the ending that we had with Jen, it's like, okay, we can't take this serious because y'all don't take it serious. So really excited that Paradise brought in a new showrunner. I think he's done stuff on Bravo. He did Summer House. He's been with Peacock. Like
you keep Jesse Solomon away from Bachelor.
Please.
Whatever.
Oh my God.
Or you know what?
Please
Wait. I'll trade Jesse to this to Bachelor. Just get him out of Summer House.
God, no, we don't want him over in Bachelorland. Absolutely not. But yeah, we feel like hopefully some innovation is coming to Paradise, and then that is just we're gonna see that same ilk happen with the Bachelorette, what they just paused, The Bachelor, which I'm sure they're also revamping. I'm open to the franchise if they are open to innovation, and that's really obviously what they need now in the world of Love is Blind, the world of Love Island. Like there's so many other shows to watch to find people fall in love. The Bachelor's got to figure out what it needs to do to kind of keep the audience, and I think they need to innovate, and I think that's very obvious.
I mean, that's the hard thing about, you're the gold standard for so long, and then all of these other shows that are obviously inspired by your show, but they can innovate in ways just to get attention, and then The Bachelor kind of seems stale. And I love Golden Bachelor because there's something that I'm very romantic about, like older people that have loved and lost trying to love again. But you're like, we're seeing this done better elsewhere and with bigger, like Love is Blind. I mean, that's a train wreck. You have these people in pods for so long, and you're like, this shouldn't even be legal, but it's exciting to watch. And I wonder with the new showrunner if they're able to get it back on track, because then you have Bachelor in Paradise, right, where they all go, and really the secret hope is that people like hook up with each other it's very Love Island, right?
Yeah, definitely. I will say, even though the Bachelor and Bachelorette seem so stale, and Bachelor in Paradise the last season was terrible, Golden Bachelor has revamped at, I think, a new genre of reality dating television. I think the Golden Bachelor, I think what was that, 2 years ago? That started the later daters. That started Love Hotel. That started all these trends of all these other networks that they were following behind kind of in their tracks. And it started with a new segment of people who like very much felt forgotten, which is the over 60 crowd, or even for women, the over 40 crowd. And so I will say they do have that with Golden, is that they have that level of innovation, even though it doesn't feel like it because it's still an old white man fall in love,
Well, and I don't know if it's just me, obviously getting older, but I've watched reality shows my whole life, is that you're like, okay, these young people don't know what the F they're talking about. Like you hear like somebody on Love Island USA going, I'm here to find like the love of my life. No, you're not. You're here to grow your social media following. And the same thing with The Bachelor, when I'm like, you don't give it. You're not. And as you get older, you realize it's logistically impossible for you to find the love of your life on these shows some of the time. So I almost believe the Golden Bachelor more because I'm like, at this point, they can't be superstars. Like they're not going to be the biggest influencer of all kinds. So I can trust the show more.
Yep, that is true. That's what's been lost with regular Bachelor, and kind of with all reality shows, is like that underbelly motive that why everyone is there. And so that's what really had everyone leaned into the Golden Bachelorette, because it just feels genuine. They genuinely are there for a second chance at love. Like you're very bought into that story. And that's hard to find now with reality TV and just where where social media is with people.
Yeah, the social media of it all has just changed everything in such a drastic way. And I always talk about the concept of 360 viewing, where 360 degree viewing, where it's not just the show. Now you got to pay attention to the social media. You got to pay attention to the Reddit. You got to pay attention to the podcast. And so you're always learning some new nugget of information that takes away from the actual story that these producers are trying to tell us. And it waters it so down that you're like, I don't even know if I care.
Yeah, that's the downside, I think, of going on for social media, that being your goal, is because you could come out with nothing. The Love is Blind season 8 cast, nobody remembers them.
I know that's what
We want to forget everything.
I don't even remember. Like that's it. Like I'll watch the entire season without learning any of their names. Like that's where, and I don't even guilt myself about it anymore. I'm like, the blonde guy that's like not there for the right reasons, and the girl who's insecure. Like I'll just kind of typify them. When's the last time you've been really excited to watch something and it's proved your excitement worthwhile?
America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboys.
Oh my God.
All right, wait. Are you agree? Was the oh my God in agreement?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we're getting a second season very
Yes, we
soon, which I
are.
think you guys are covering. This is a
we
Netflix
are.
series, guys. And I will say the first season was really surprisingly good. What are you hoping to see the second season?
Yeah. My first hope, there are some women of color on the team that I'm very curious about that we didn't really get to see their stories. And to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader in Dallas under this political climate and be of color and live in Texas and be surrounded by like very Christian people, like I'm very curious to know their story specifically. So that is probably my first thing that I'm looking for, like who of the women from last season, because there's a lot of veterans coming back. We follow some of them on Instagram. Camille, she's one of the Black girls that they kind of showed last season. Like I want to hear her talk more and I want to know what's going on with her. So that's my answer.
yeah. I would love for them to touch on the popularity gained from last season.
Yeah.
And what are the rules? Because the rules, that binder, we all know that binder of rules and regulations that I have for those ladies.
Yeah.
Have those rules changed? Do they have to follow those rules on social media? We see them all getting ready for practice and being sponsored by these brands. Do the brands have to go through the Cowboys Association?
And they point out the first season, the pay scale is like wildly different from obviously the football players. They're not making an insane amount of money. So all of those endorsement deals come into play and social media and the popularity.
Yeah.
And it really turned out to be a much more interesting reality series than I thought. Cause I I don't pay attention to football that much. So I tend to write sports off in a way. And this, by the way, I'm more into, and I don't mean in a creepy pervy way, but I'm more into the cheerleader aspect of it where I'm like, oh, they actually told this story in a really interesting way. And you guys loved it.
Yeah. And Netflix just does a really good job at sports documentaries. The golf like I'm not interested in golf, I'm not interested in F1, I'm not interested in I'm not interested in sports either, but their docuseries on sports are so well done. And the cheerleaders, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, was no different.
I totally agree. I just watched some Brett Favre Untold documentary about him being creepy. I watched
downfall.
I watched The Liver King, which I don't think is really sports, but he was using performance enhancing drugs, like certain sports people. They have the Last Dance on the Chicago Bulls, like an amazing series that I'll rewatch that every year and a half because it's so damn good. And I didn't I just don't watch sports, but you put a docu-series or a documentary about sports, I'm fully in.
I'm in. Yeah, it's so true.
Did you ladies watch Real Housewives of Atlanta this week?
I did.
Yes, I did.
Yep.
So I talked about on Monday's episode that I was a little upset with Britt Eady because she did not show up to the reunion, and now she is suing Bravo for $20 million and also put out a statement saying Kenya, who had kind of used revenge porn, allegedly of Britt Eady, using pictures of her in sexual acts, and that got Kenya kicked off of the show. She made a statement over the weekend too saying, well, those pictures I found out are not even me to begin with. And I was wondering what your take on is of that, but also of Britt Eady's performance so far in Atlanta this season as a newbie.
Yeah, the lawsuits, I just need to know more about this timeline because I feel like I read something. She wasn't privy to the photos until very recently, and then now she's confirming that wasn't even me in the photos, and Bravo obviously orchestrated a whole trailer around the photos. So there's just more details as to the timeline aspect because it seems very odd that she wouldn't have known already that wasn't her in the photo and now is putting out a lawsuit. But I'm definitely gonna be watching this lawsuit. I'm really curious about it because she could have grounds for something as far as creating a hostile environment, sexual harassment, Bravo kind of contributing to her emotional turmoil by creating this whole campaign around it. Like, I'm really curious to see like how it's going to shake out. As far as Brit on this season, I'm not that impressed, to be honest. I don't really find her interesting. She does seem to be in some type of drama with someone always. I guess that's cool or whatever, but yeah, I
don't think it's enough. I think when you get a fan casted on the show, they immediately want to get in a fight with the big dog and they want a business. And that is never a good combo when you are a brand new housewife. You have to be liked. If we think about even Paige's trajectory on Summer House, think about how long she had to stay in the bed for her to now be known for pajamas.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Hey, wait. Don't act like it's a struggle to stay in the bed. It's easy to stay in the bed. Like, no, but I see your point, and it's to our earlier point about like the social media of it all, is that it's different, is that now it's not even about having a natural or real friendship with the other women. It's about what can I show? How big can I go? I think Jen Shaw suffered from this on Salt Lake City as well. And they really are looking at the bottom line of getting that social media following, getting those brand endorsement deals. And you're like, just have that's all we're asking you to do is have relationships. And, you know, even her, when Kenya was still on the show, you know, she was talking about guns. She was talking, you know, like, I mean, to me, that shouldn't be condoned as well. But like, that's the thing with any of these reality shows, is that I'm getting less and less of a vibe that anybody wants to be actual friends. You're coworkers.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why I like Kelly this season, because Kelly does seem like she is genuinely trying to form a relationship with Shamia and Portia and Britt. Even in this recent episode, she's like, "Oh, Portia, you don't pick up the phone," or like, "We've never gone to," and Portia's like, "You've not tried with me either. Like, you've not really tried to create a relationship." And to your point, they come wanting to launch products and launch events and, you know, have an event with no food, and but you don't want to like do the job that you're here to do, which is to show us your life and to create relationship with these women, but you want to sell me something. Like, you can't do both.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I was thinking about early Atlanta, you know, those first couple of amazing seasons, and you had Nene and Kim and Portia, obviously. And now we have the return of Phaedra, but it's in like the final couple of episodes, which, by the way, she thinks Kelly has gigantic boobs. There was a lot of nipple conversation on last night's episode. And I love I just love Phaedra's faces, but even that, it almost feels like stunt casting, because they knew Kenya had to be off, and then you bring Cynthia Bailey as a friend of, and I love Cynthia, but it seems like a workforce rather than these genuine, like, oh, this friend group has something, or even like Sex in the City, even that's a fictional characters. You're like, this is an actual friend group.
That is true. Phaedra being back I love her being back. Like, she's crushing these confessionals already, but we're seeing a lot more of Phaedra's confessionals than Brit.
Phaedra.
Than Phaedra or Brit or the people who were cast on the show with a peach doing
Or I even like, I like Angela. There's something about Angela that I
like Angela too.
I'm kind of interested in, and like that she can't get her husband on the phone, and there's always mystery with Charles Oakley, and he's always cooking something, like, and those are like the little details. And by the way, why does Drew always remind me of Charlie Brown? Drew always is like, like, she can never fully get it right, and everybody smells that on her, you know?
Yes, she's so much better now than she was when she was filming. I think her divorce is really taking something out of her. Because on Watch What Happens Live recently, she was like excellent. Even on the after show, she looks so beautiful on this after show. And she's just really firm in her points, even if they are wrong. So I appreciate her after the show. I'm pretty sure it's because Ralph is like not messing with her the way he was messing with her before.
Drop it with Drew meant dropping Ralph. And
Yeah. Oh my
that.
God, drop it with Drew.
And Ralph living in the basement, I can't think of like a more symbolic of like, of course Ralph should live in the basement.
Obviously, where else is Ralph going to be? But
Yeah, the troll in the basement. And then it turns out he's bringing women to the basement. I was like, that's like balls. Like, your kid, you know, that's like the mess. And I always think, like, is it, like, do you ladies think, like, in 2025, is it worth it at the end of the day to be on a reality series?
If you know what you're doing, yes. Look at Lauren and Cameron. Like if you really
from Love Is Blind.
Love Is Blind. If you know what you're doing, even Brett and Tiffany are doing really well off of Love Is Blind.
But they're the exception, not the rule, it seems.
Yes, but I think that's because they're likable. I think if you're not likable, then this is what happens. It's gonna blow up your life.
Yeah. Would you ladies ever do a reality series?
So my answer to your previous question is I think it's worth it if you have an action plan and a team to help execute on what else you want to do outside of just gain fame. Do I want to do reality? No, because I don't need the fame. I don't need people scrutinizing whatever. But could it be an opportunity to catapult Two Black Girls, One Rose in some way?
Yeah.
And we already talk a lot about our lives, like, and what's more than just talking a little bit more about my life on TV. Like, I could see an avenue and pairing with the right people, having the right manager, having the right PR person to kind of help.
But see, then aren't we already kind of falling into that trap of, well, we're not just focusing on relationships there. We're already focusing on trying to like, oh, if I had the right team and if I could do the right thing. Yeah. Like, that's kind of what a lot of people think instead of like, oh, I actually just really like these people and I want to do it with my friends.
Yeah. I think you still have to come with the preparation of showing your life. Like, I still would have to show up like, okay, I'm here to whatever the show is, I don't know, but like talk about my relationship or my family or show my like that still has to be part of the motive. And that is the first job, because people aren't going to buy your products or whatever you're selling them if you're not giving them what they need, which is to show your life on TV. You know?
Yeah.
So I think I have to come with that prepared, but I also have to be smart and have my people lined up ready to launch whatever it is I'm about to launch too.
Yeah, to drop your rosé, your skin cream.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I do agree. I think for my first season, if I was to do reality TV, I wouldn't sell anything. I would keep it very Jessel from Real Housewives of New York. She did not sell a single thing.
Well, and also I think Jessel went into Roni. And I don't think she was expected to be a fan favorite.
Yeah.
And I don't think the girls she filmed with thought she would be a fan favorite.
Definitely
so they all picked on her that first season.
Yeah.
Really, really badly. I think if she didn't even get picked on, she'd still be the fan favorite because she was so honest with her life.
Yes. Yeah.
And she had such a relatable story that was pretty extreme with her IVF stuff and even the stuff with her husband, want to be a food blogger and all that kind of craziness. But that's how I would go into my first season, and my manager and my team would be the people who would be really corralling my social at that time and making sure that narrative is still setting me up for selling something great
for season two.
For season two.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to institute a law on reality TV that you can't sell anything unless you're 2 seasons in. Like 2-season rule.
I think that's smart.
And then we start getting these products lined up. You brought up Roni. Did you see that Brynn Whitfield announced that she was no longer participating in Roni? She's
with
done.
reality television for now.
She announced that.
It's because her dating app is doing so good, she said in the post.
Which app? I still don't know the name of this app.
I don't have it. It's not coming to mind right now, but it's on her Instagram post. And it was.
What are you talking about?
But have you noticed Bravo does this, though, is that they let the cast members make announcements. Like, even if they choose, it's like Saturday Night Live. It's like, yeah, you can say you left or you can't do it, but we're the ones actually not renewing your contract. And I think that's what's at play here, because even though everybody thinks Roni's like done and on pause, I've now have like multiple sources that say Roni is going. Roni is going to happen. It's just going to be a little bit of a cast shakeup. And I think, did you keep up with Roni? in the last season?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are fully up to date.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about like that last episode in the reunion with Brynn? She still doesn't seem to have any sort of cognizant ability to recognize her behavior in the season at all, and doesn't seem to be listening to her so-called friends around her about how they feel about her manipulation and potential lies.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it's interesting because I just saw a clip of her on a show, another pod, saying that she got back from Puerto Rico and didn't know what these girls would make up about her. And I was like, this is on camera. Like, no one's gonna this happened and they're gonna air it. This was a huge deal. People were flying back and forth. You had to leave early. There's nothing that these girls are gonna say that's going to admonish what happened and what they're going to show. You signed up for reality television. I think her level of self-awareness being that low and still being this low is really concerning for Bravo fans who are used to watching reality TV stars who have to be super self-aware, almost too much so to be like the real stars that we really, really love. And I think her podcast is like a really weird move. That's a real weird move for somebody who said something terrible to start a podcast. Is like a very strange business move.
Well, and by the way, it's like a brilliant, well, not brilliant, but it's interesting because she'll never get checked on whatever she says on there. It's not like somebody will be like, you're lying right now, Brynn. That's not that's not true at all. And you can say whatever you want to say on your podcast. So of course, you know, it's not healthy to continue on reality TV if you have a weird relationship with the truth. But I think the frustration of it all for me is that, like, I always talk about conflict and resolution. Like, it just feels like we just get people off the show without kind of, you know, she doesn't ever have to admit she's wrong. She doesn't ever, she can live in her own reality and go, no, that's not my experience. I feel this way. And sometimes I want there to be referees. I think it's maybe even the world at large where you're like, wait, we see this with our own eyes, but you can continue to just say this lie. I sometimes rage against that. And so my feelings are colored by that. And I feel like, where's Brynn? We need justice.
Yeah. She's she's just an unwell person. And I don't want to watch this person be on television. It almost feels exploitative, honestly. And this is not coming from a sympathetic voice. Like, she has a lot of trauma. I can have sympathy for that, but she is unwell and wielding out here. And it's dangerous and a liability to have this person on television around other people.
Well, don't tell Jax Taylor that.
Another one. Another one. I can't.
Wait, I mean, we're going to talk about Summer House in a second, but do you dip into the Valley at all, or do you stay far away from the Valley?
I can't do Jax and I can't do Chris and Dodie. I just can't do it.
And so you actually care about your mental health. That's interesting.
Yes.
Interesting. I see now what's happening.
Loyalist. I watched Vanderpump from season 1. Like, I know all of Jax and Chris and their craziness, but I just can't do them. They should not be on TV, in my opinion. And I hear the Valley is fantastic. Like, I should be watching, but like, I just can't.
Speaking of the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, Jasmine Good, who's on the Valley, was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. She was on the CMT version of that reality show way back in the day. And I thought that was kind of interesting. You know, by the way, all roads lead back to reality TV for these people. They all find each other and they all wind up on like 6 different reality shows. But spoiler alert, Jax Taylor hasn't changed at all. It's the same. You're
consistent.
Not missing.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Nobody appreciates Jack's consistency, right?
Right. I guess that. I'll give him that.
I'm surprised to hear that you guys watch Summer House for some reason. Like, what is it about Summer House? Like, if you're not doing the Valley, what about Summer House that you want to watch it for?
I've been on Summer House since season 1. We grew up in New Jersey. We spent our 20s in New York. Like, we're very familiar with this person that goes to summer in the Hamptons, particularly in their 20s, goes to party in the Hamptons. So, like, I was always drawn to that. I'm like, I know these people, not literally, but I know these people that go to the Hamptons. I wasn't going to the Hamptons, but I want to see what they're doing. And I think Summer House is just, they just hit, gold with Lindsay, as a person. Like, she should just be on television. Like, I think they just hit gold with her. Kyle as well. I think, like,
Like, even if you don't like
Casting's
Lindsay,
amazing.
you have to admit you have a feeling about Lindsay. Like,
Yes.
not liking somebody is a feeling. Like, that is a reality star. And if you love Lindsay, you love it. But if you dislike Lindsay or hate Lindsay, that's just as good as liking somebody on reality TV.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think I started watching Summer House mid-season last season. I've since caught up since season 5. I've like binged all the seasons, but I started watching last season because Natasha and I always say Bravo is our ESPN. So anything that's happening in any sport at all that our husbands are into, they know what's happening.
Yep.
Right? So it doesn't matter if they're a fan of the team or not. They have to know what's happening. And I had to know what was happening on Summer House as a Bravo-holic. So I had to tune in last season to see what was happening with Carl and Lindsay because it was all over the news.
Well, so when you watched it from the beginning and you just started last season, what is that like? I always love that phenomenon when you tell people to watch a show and they start it out of nowhere. And it feel like Love Island was that for me, like Love Island UK when I first started watching that. And I was like, what the hell's going on? What was your vibe when you started watching Summer House last season? What did you feel immediately?
Oh my God. I felt like I was missing out.
Like I didn't know if you were like, I don't feel well. This is weird. And then it just kind of, you caught up to it.
No, I felt like I was missing out on gold. And Natasha had been telling me, and I
struck gold. I've been trying to get her to watch for years.
Isn't it a good feeling? Isn't it a good feeling when they finally listen?
When they finally listen, I'm like, see what I've been trying to tell you.
What did you think about this? What did you think about this season? I fight with my listen. I don't actually fight, but a lot of my listeners like are actually like, I didn't like this season. And for me, it's like this kind of vibe show. It's like I just like watching it. Like I don't even, it's not even too cerebral. But I'm like, it's like a comfort show for me. What did you think about this season?
Yeah. It's definitely a comfort show for me. So I wasn't even thinking that deep as to whether I liked it or not. Lexi and Jesse, it got stale and old real quick. And we knew that was going to happen because they jumped in with each other so quick. I think what we all loved and appreciated about the West and Sierra love story is Sierra kind of kept him at bay. She moved slow and we kind of saw him break down her walls.
And he found a way to get in there so he could get sex. He found a way.
He found a way. He found a way. But it was over the course of several episodes, And with Jesse and Lexi, they gave it all up. They gave away the whole plot from the beginning. And then we just kind of watched the demise of it all. And then it just wasn't fun to watch that. But I still tuned in every Tuesday. So yeah, that's fine.
What did you feel?
Yeah, every Tuesday at 9, I was parked in there. I, too, really wanted to know the breakdown of Craig and Paige because I don't watch Southern Charm, so I didn't know this Craig person. I was automatically Team Paige because she's so lovable on this show. But I wanted to see exactly like what was going on with this Craig guy and why it was such a huge.
So you just saw when he popped up on Summer House. That was your those were your experiences with Craig. And your Team Paige. But what did you think about how Craig? Like we had spritzer wars this season between him and Kyle in pirate outfits. Like what was your vibe with Craig then?
Yeah, well, I think as a podcaster and as a creative, I am always erring on the side of that I want these women to find these really supportive husbands for their careers because I see them booming in the same industry that I'm booming, and I see how it can be really damaging if you don't have that. And when I saw the audience kind of reaction of split of Team Paige and Team Craig, I was like, okay, some of these people, I think they don't know exactly what Paige would give up if she stayed with him. Like she would be giving up a gold mine if she stayed with this guy.
People don't realize how successful Paige is.
Paige is.
Yeah,
and I think sometimes they're blinded by just like this person that they see laying in bed and they're like, oh, and we have a tendency as a society to go towards men anyways. Spoiler alert. And so I see a lot of comments of people that still weirdly hate Paige when I'm like, I don't even think Paige is bashing Craig as hard as she could be bashing Craig. And I also don't think that people should hate Craig. Like, obviously, at the end of the day, what she's saying is that this just didn't work out. Yeah. But now it has, like, kind of some legs because it's on Bravo. So we're going to try to find ways to make this, like, a story, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Last week on Patreon, we do reaction content. And we had a little pre-show just literally counting Paige's checks.
What is reaction content?
Oh, you can watch TV with us. So we are currently watching Couples Therapy season 1.
Oh, Showtime. They just
came out
renewed
with
it
the
for
new
another
season.
season too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we watch some great shows on TV, but specifically on Patreon, and you could watch with us.
I'm a technological idiot. I'm like, does the technology, it's there that I can watch TV with you guys? How do you do this? Do you just have a shot of a TV that you're in the room with, or like, how are we doing this?
Yeah, there's a software where you can stream the show while you're also watching it, basically.
There's software for this? What the hell is going on?
Yeah, we're not the first, Ryan.
You invented this. Are you allowed? Wait, do you pause and talk over, or do you just talk over it while it's running?
We talk over it while it's running. Yeah, because it's not edited for now. We're we're working on getting into some editing and getting more into like the YouTube space also with Patreon and kind of combining the two.
God, isn't it fun? Isn't it fun? All of these things that you have to get
all
up to
this
date with.
Yeah.
Remember when podcasting used to just be audio?
Yeah.
I know.
Oh my God, Ryan, we were so drunk in our first episodes. Oh my God.
Oh,
the blast.
I think the first 2 years was like I was during the pandemic, and so like I was drinking every day. Like I was used to it was weird when I stopped drinking while podcasting. Like I would be like, oh, I'll have some Fernet Branca and like a Truly, and I'll just and it would get more unhinged as I went, and I was like, this is podcasting, I guess. And now I don't know how I survived those times.
I know. And now we gotta like actually shower and put on makeup and like look like somebody.
Speak for yourself. Look at me. I'll shower when I need
look
to.
comfortable.
But anyway, I think. But that's a poll quote for me. He looked comfortable. So you're talking about couples therapy, and we're talking about Summer House.
Yes. So we were talking during our pre-show about Summer House, and we were literally counting Paige's checks, all the ways that Paige makes money. And Summer House is probably her smallest check. It's probably her most like nominal check. And I don't think, based on, as Justine said in the comments, a lot of people, they're just blinded. They just see Paige on Summer House, like, oh my God, it's Paige on Summer House. Like,
and they think that's like, oh my God, you're on TV. That must be like, you must be like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So yeah, some people are just kind of missing the point. Maybe they don't know. Maybe we know more because we're in this world, of podcasting and ads and YouTube and all that stuff. And maybe they just don't get it. But yeah, I don't know. Paige obviously doesn't need Summer House, hence why she's leaving.
Well, I was still saddened that she was leaving Summer House. I was like, oh man, I was kind of hoping she'd be back for the 10th season. Yeah. I still think there is some sort of spinoff in the works with her. I hope so. But at the same time, what we've seen from Paige is that she, it was uncomfortable for her to share even the Craig stuff. And I think she wants that aspect of her life private, which I understand. If you're a girl out in the world dating and you have a little success, you don't want to have to monetize that. Or I think Paige is Paige is really good because she's laser-like with her takes on other people, but when it comes to her, that's like, it's hard to have the hot potato.
I would love to see a show like what they tried to do with Blood, Sweat, and Heels, but with Sierra, Paige, and Amanda. So
you want to see a dancing show?
And Lindsay. Throw Lindsay in there.
And Lindsay. Yeah, we'll throw Lindsay in there, obviously. Yeah. Throw Lindsay in.
Well, we kind of saw that with the last scene of the Summer House finale. It was when they all got together. And I was like, well, they're showing us the show right here. Like, Lindsay doesn't even have to leave the city. I mean, this is, content.
Yes. Throw Maya in. I want to see Maya. How's she doing with that cooking stuff?
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is like, how do you think representation on Summer House? We have Sierra, we have Gabby, and Gabby just held Lexi's hand the entire reunion, and we didn't get much of her. Maya kind of disappeared after 2 seasons, and they had one of the most, I was talking about this maybe on somebody else's podcast, of like that scene when she was talking about race and the whole crew was like gathered around her and really listening. And it was a really productive conversation that didn't feel like it was talking down to the audience. It was very real. What do you think Summer House, in terms of representation, how do you think they handle it?
Yeah, I think that moment with Maya was probably it that we got out of Summer House, honestly. I don't know if I tune into Summer House for the representation necessarily. I love Sierra.
You're like, I'm here to find out more about me here at Summer House. Yeah,
I want to watch these messy white people do messy white people shit. Like, I love Sierra. I love her down. I love seeing her kind of trying to navigate and date and all that. Gabby's not really bringing that conversation. Sierra, kind of that conversation come up because Maya was there. Like, so yeah, I don't know.
I feel like Gabby in like the 2 seasons she's been on hasn't like popped yet. Like I keep waiting for like she had a couple good comments at the dinner table and like the final, or maybe the, like, you know, a couple good jokey comments, but I'm like, are they filming your life and it's just being edited completely out? Or I still know she's really funny. She likes horoscopes and, you know, I know her, like about her family and her sister a little bit, but that is it. And I'm trying to be like, okay, make out with Carl or something. I don't know.
Yeah. There's nothing to like really connect with her on. She's not really relatable in any sense of the word, for me, at least when I watch Gabby. I don't relate to her at all. And I think a lot of it has to do with the venue that they're in. A lot of it is the Hamptons. It's just like a really, really like starchy white place to be. And so even bringing in minority candidates, it's like tough for them to survive in those houses and have like storylines on the weekends and stuff. Because of the nature of where they are.
Well, and Sierra, I mean, I know you love Sierra Down, but can we, I still think Sierra has a bad picker. I think I'm still scared that she will end up hooking up with Jesse Solomon. I'm scared she won't tell us at first. And I think this, I mean, I don't know if I'm misreading this, but I think Jesse is very calculated, way more than he lets on. And Sierra at the reunion said like, oh, he's not smart enough to do that. Yes, he is. I think he is smart enough. What is your take on Sierra and potentially a Jesse hookup?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I wanted it to happen before this summer, so she can get back at West.
To spite West. That was the one opportunity. Now would be absolutely ridiculous.
It would be maniacal, but I think Jesse in his head of like, I can make it happen. I can make it happen.
Oh
the fans, well, did you see that rumor that Jesse hooked up with Erica Jane?
Yes. Which doesn't shock me from either.
Not at all. No.
No, it doesn't shock me. I think it just, I don't know. Like, it's not even, it's just like, okay, if that's how you want to live your life. I mean, it's really bizarre. What if we see Erica Jane pop up at the summer house and she has to be in the bed with like the bed bugs? Like there's room for Amanda in the bed now with the Sierra.
Oh God!
Oh my God! Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, it's sad. And I know
about that.
Too. She was commenting on people's thing, like, please, I can't take it. Like she's commenting on TikTok and stuff.
I know.
Yeah, but I mean, like to me, it was like a good season. And they're doing a Secrets Revealed episode underneath the covers, I think it's called, where we're going to see cut scenes from the season. And one of those is about Kyle and his behavior that him and Amanda had, I think, before the full season started. So I'm really curious. I mean, we were curious why it got cut out, but also curious what is in that conversation and why didn't it come up at any other point during the season. What do you like? I thought the Kyle and Amanda stuff on the couch was some of the darkest stuff because here are two people that love each other, but you're like, well, maybe this isn't enough.
Yeah, I'm very locked into Kyle and Amanda's marriage. Like I need to see how this goes because I think it was crazy to all of us that the wedding even happens. Like they actually got married, and then to hear her on the reunion say she had 1 foot in, 1 foot out, like we kind of know that. We've kind of always known that.
But I thought for some reason this season they almost seemed like stable. Like I was like, oh, this seems kind of stable. And then I'm like,
he's coming home at 2.
You just cut out scenes. You did. Come on, he came home like an hour and a half earlier than he usually does. That's growth. And you notice how he'd always wake her up, and she'd be like, "Stop waking me up.
Yeah.
I love you. I love you. Don't wake her up."
Oh my God. Yeah, I'm so locked into. I want to see what becomes of this relationship. And
if you were to bet, do you bet they stay together? Or you bet they don't.
Ooh, it's only a matter of time.
No, Natasha, please.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I have a co-host on Monday, Sophie, that says the same thing. It's only a matter of time. And I'm the one that wants to believe in them as I want them to go the distance.
Me too.
I would love them to. I absolutely would love them to. But for her already to say she's 1 foot in, 1 foot out, to see how much of a workaholic he is, to see him make the decision to go into DJing when he works already so many hours around the clock. You just don't like her. You don't want to be around her. You made a choice to spend your evenings and now weekends away working more.
Well, when they had that conversation, I went on Kyle's Instagram and he was like in Vegas that past weekend, like at an event, and she wasn't there, you know?
Yeah. How does that sustain a relationship?
Yeah, damn, that's true. I keep forgetting about this DJ madness.
He chose to do that. He didn't have to do that. He chose
the
to pick
DJ
up
stuff,
another job. Like,
it's gotten out of hand. We have Dorinda as a DJ now. Meredith Marks is a
Meredith.
DJ now. And Meredith is like, what's up? She just pushes a button and then just kind of stands up there and like fist pumps.
It's a Spotify playlist, I think.
Yeah.
That just starts playing. Yeah.
Oh, well, since you know everything kind of Bravo or Aware, are you dipping into Next Gen NYC at all?
No,
that one I'm not interested in.
I'm just not interested in them. But good luck, guys.
Yeah.
2 black girls, 1 rose says, "Good luck, you guys. Keep your heads up." Yeah. Well, so you live in Brooklyn now, is that right? No, where do you? Jersey. You live in Jersey.
Yeah.
How far away is that from Soft Bar?
No, oh my God. Is Soft Bar open?
Is it open? I know.
Can we Google it?
I don't think it's open yet, but like we need all the support we can get, I think, for Carl.
Yeah. We got to show out for him. He's trying.
What do you think about Carl and his journey and what we saw out of him at the reunion?
Carl's given us a lot. So he can have a pass for a season where he's trying to sell his really very odd idea to us. I think he definitely deserves, after really 9 seasons of really selling us everything. He gave us everything. And his family and his sober journey and stuff like that.
His teeth. Yeah.
His teeth
now. Oh shit.
I got all emotional about his teeth the other night, and I was like, well, this is a brave revelation from Carl.
It was very brave.
And people are like, I don't want to see Carl. I'm like, how can you, like, listen, I get that you're upset about Lindsay still, and I get that, but like, isn't, like, if you compare him to all the other men on Bravo, isn't this where we want to get, like, where they're somewhat introspective and trying to figure out like their behavior, and you can see he's obviously uncomfortable with getting to know himself where he is right now. So shouldn't we encourage people to be more like Carl? I know that sounds crazy.
I agree. Carl's trying. He's trying, right?
Yeah,
he's trying. Lindsay was a tough person, and he made a real wild decision to plan a wedding with her. Like, that's a wild life decision. And
did you hear that one interview where it was like the night before he asked her to marry he asked her to marry him, he had drank so much Red Bull he had to go to the hospital.
Oh yes, that's right.
Like, this was not
I
in the show
remember
at
that.
all. This was, I don't forgot where this information, maybe it was on the after show or something like that, but I was like, oh my God, I had no idea it was like that.
Yeah.
To like psych himself up.
Well, that's how nervous he was about these kind of things, that he had to go to the hospital. I don't know. It was. How long have you ladies both been married?
For me, 2.5 years.
7 months.
Wow. So, I mean, in terms of all that you cover on the podcast and dating and relationships, what have you so far learned about marriage and how it's been different from, your adventures as single women?
Yeah. We started the podcast. We were both single. And honestly, I've learned the most about marriage from working with my best friend for this long, rather than even just watching these shows. I felt very confident being married, having already a business partnership with a best friend.
Yeah, that's true. We often talk about our relationship almost like a marrich. Like, we're so locked in.
So you guys are blaming each other on your views of marriage. You're like, it's because I had. Well, I mean, no. I mean, your best friends in 7 years. Have you had any big blow-ups on the podcast? Have you ever disagreed so vehemently with each other?
Not on the show. Definitely not.
Yeah, we've edited it out. Yeah.
No, not even. We definitely keep that in.
They've not invented the technology for Patreon like they do with the watch-alongs or the reactions. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we, like what I always say to people, Justine and I have a lot of respect for the strengths that we each bring to the business. And we both can acknowledge that we're not experts. We're doing a lot of experimentation. So if she brings ideas, I can't say to her that's a bad idea. I don't know. Like, and vice versa. So we are very open to each other's ideas. We're also very respectful of the territories that we each kind of own to make this business run. So we don't step on each other's toes a whole lot, and we don't creatively disagree a whole lot either. Because we're both so open, I think. Right?
You disagree mainly in your marriage, not the partnership right here. It's just the marriage.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Well, I mean, your episode I was listening to today, as we start winding down here, Sex in the City, do women just want to be rescued? Which that's the question that Carrie asks in that episode, because you have Charlotte on the ferry going like, when is my prince gonna come? Da, da, da. And, I'm obviously a man and I have completely different lived experiences. Is where do you think women are right now? Do you think women want to be rescued? Do you think women want to be doing it for themselves? Like, where is the divide right now?
Yeah, I think I said this on the episode, but I really do think they want to be rescued from toxic masculinity that surrounds them in dating. It's not really that they want to be rescued from some things particularly like working or like something like that, or independence, right? There's still absolutely can be independence while you are dating, while you are married, and while you're in a heterosexual relationship with a man. But they just want to be rescued from the monotony and the just really like ubiquitous toxic masculinity that's surrounding us, especially in this day and age. I really feel for people who are out and dating right now in this age where everybody's views are so public and stark and extreme.
Yeah, there's not a lot of maneuvering within. It's very definite,
rigid.
And that's rigid. Exactly. I think that's even from I see that, or I'm highly sensitive to things I see online, and you're like, oh God, this seems very black and white, and it shouldn't be in a sense.
Yeah, I agree with Justine. I also think, as far as rescue, like, I think some women are wanting to be rescued from like all the decision making that has to be done every day. A lot of my friends that are in their 30s that are still single are bad bitches, boss babes. Like they are, they have their husband, not their husband. They got their apartments, they got their jobs, they got everything, figured out. They want to be rescued from having to make a decision to what to eat for dinner that night. Like just getting to share in that with somebody else. And get to do life with someone else is really what they're being rescued from, not really like the misery of being single. A lot of my single friends are not miserable. They're actually very happy. So yeah, that and definitely toxic masculinity, just dealing with men and their bullshit through dating.
We see it on reality shows all the time, yet nobody seems to wisen up. We're still dealing with the same issues. I mean, that's something that's remained constant, since the beginning of Bravo or even on the Bachelor franchise. So it's interesting to see how much we don't change for as much as how we do change. And then what reality show do you think is the most accurate representation of where we're at in 2025?
Oh, you know what? Love is Blind is a great city and location study. I think every city is really different because they talk about things we saw on Love is Blind season 4, I want to say, with Dallas. They had the first conversations about Nancy making more money than Bartise, but also Nancy's views on abortion rather than Bartise's entire family's views on abortion. How they had to all chime in. That was a very Dallas conversation that they had. That would never happen in, the Seattle Love is Blind. So that's always really interesting about that show. And then also the Ultimatum is just my favorite, and so I always
dipped into the Ultimatum, and I know you guys cover it. And aren't they doing the Queer Ultimatum too?
Season 2
to come out,
season 2's coming back.
Yep.
And we will.
And
be
that's
recapping.
you say that's worth it. That's worth it to dip into.
So worth it, especially the queer one. There's a queer one, season 1. It was madness. It was so good and delicious and juicy and wonderful. And even the first season with the straight people on it was a lot of young people, and they were wild. And I think that's how the young people are these days, with their phones and recording each other twerking at the club. It was really crazy, but it was great.
Did you say twerking at the club?
They were all twerking at the club, but
I was like, she might have said working at the club.
Oh, no.
She said twerking at the club.
And I was twerking at the club, but nobody was recording me twerking at the club.
I know you guys are going to be covering Love Island USA, and I will say I had this really sad moment like on Friday night watching it, and then a little bit where I was like, Oh, I'm starting to feel creepy watching this. Like the women,
No.
like
They're
making
so
like
young.
I'm like, yeah, they're so young, and they're like the one Bella is like just making out with this guy just to like get his attention,
yeah.
and she was just like she went from a kiss on the cheek to be like, I have to go full tilt, and he was like, yeah, like. He was like, you know what? I 30% liked you the other day, but now I 50% like you. And I'm like, oh my, and she was like, oh my God, thanks. And she took it as a compliment. And I was like,
no.
and they're just, I'm like, girls, they just want sex. They ain't shit. Like the relationship
Right.
that the girls have with the other girls, that's the focus on the friendships. Don't focus on the
Yeah.
men there. Focus on your
Yeah.
friendships.
Yeah.
Do you have faith, though, Ryan, that this Beyond the Villa show is going to morph into a Jersey Shore-like franchise for Peacock?
So
That's
they
what I have
just
faith
they just revealed like I think the trailer today, and it's all the season 6 cast, which was a phenomenal season, phenomenal cast, and I think season 7 obviously has a lot to prove because of that. I think it could. The only thing I think holding it up is that like we're in that age of social media that Jersey Shore didn't have to do. Like their social media existed, but not in the way it is now. And you see comments from like Leah and I think Janae already, even the trailer was released, already talking about like, oh, that's what you focused on. That's how you're going to portray us. And I think they might get frustrated with portrayals as they see it edited, and they are very empowered and emboldened to speak up because they have fan bases that are so large on TikTok and social media that they might not see that it's worth it to do a Peacock reality. That's just my one thought, but I would love if it hits, like if it's good, I love that cast. So in fact, I just talked to Cordell last week again, and he's in it, but he's not one of the, because he had like a couple movie projects or something. So I loved all of those people. So I'm excited to see it, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I think they're so conscious of perception and trying to control their narrative. We kind of saw it a little bit with Summer House with Justine and Lexi. Like they're so obsessed with like how they're being perceived that I kind of agree with you, Ryan. Like that could get in the way where they're just like, it's not worth it for me. I want to be in control of my narrative. I'll just control my social media and I don't need the potential distraction or potential negative reception I might get from being on this show, which is unfortunate for us, the audience, but that's kind of the world we live in now.
If you're already liking the TikToks, I'm showing you living my life, I can control that narrative.
Exactly.
I don't need you like I don't have all you talking and making Reddit threads and all of this stuff about like me trying to live my life, which I think would be kind of like, I'd almost be proud of them for that because I'm like, oh, you want to have a real life. And I also think Love Island just is so interesting because they are in that bubble and they have no idea how they're being perceived until they're out. You know, or like movie night happens, or they get little pieces of information. But Leah thought she was universally hated last season, and then she came out and she was the most popular one.
Yeah.
Anyways, I could talk to you ladies all day. This has been amazing. Justine and Natasha, the show, you guys, once again, 2 black girls, 1 rose. What we always ask for you to do is the easiest way to support is to go subscribe to their podcast on Apple Podcasts or Spotify and then rate it 5 stars without even listening to it. It's an easy, free way to support. And if you want to support even further, you go on over there to the Patreon, and they've got this crazy technology where you can watch shows along with them that I've been doing this for so long, and I've not even looked into that. It sounds amazing. How else can we support you?
Yeah, follow us on Instagram, listen to our episodes. We're going to be covering Love Island USA, Sex and the City, Bachelor in Paradise comes back in July.
Ultimatum, the second season.
And
Dallas Cheerleaders.
Dallas Cheerleaders on Patreon, Couples Therapy we're wrapping up. It's a very busy summer, a lot of summer shows. We're going to be covering all of it. So just listen to us and find us wherever you find podcasts.
Do you ever wish they would just give us our summers off, like teachers?
That would be great.
Like just don't reality
That
series
would
over
be
the summers,
fantastic.
and then we can hit it hard in the fall.
So much in the summertime. Yeah.
Well, I hope you ladies will come on again anytime you want to come on. You're welcome, and I really appreciate you being here today.
Nice.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks.
This was fun.